Good evening, I'm Mr. Edward Morrison. We are live.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or perhaps it's good afternoon, or maybe even good morning. But welcome to the Grand Slam workout announcement 4.20 and 5.20. My name is Ed Morrison. I'll be your host for this evening for this final live announcement. Well, it is hard to believe that we are already on the last week of the Grand Slam, but there is still a long way to go for teams that are vying for a top 10 and podium finish. Well, week one brought us two fairly short burners, along with some teamwork and some tactics. Week two, that was a long old grind with a nice amount of skill thrown in the mix and a huge amount of sore calves all around the world. What will week three bring us? Well, me and my colleagues discussed that we feel like we are getting used to presenting from our different locations to you, and we hope you too are getting used to some of the curveballs that this C19 edition of the Grand Slam has been throwing up. It would be remiss of us to not once again acknowledge the extremely challenging circumstances which everyone has had to push through this year. We have athletes from all around the globe competing, and each location has its own unique limitations. But what isn't unique, though, is the toll that this year has taken on people's mental health. The Grand Slam was designed to keep people moving with 3 workouts down and 2 to go. We hope that you'll agree that it has certainly done that. Now, as always, I'm joined by my co-host and the director of the Grand Slam, Mr. Matt Locke. Matt, welcome. We're doing it all again.
We sure are. It's an absolute pleasure to be here again. Like you, I can't believe we're entering week 3, but it's been a blast so far, and this next week is going to be a cracker.
Absolutely. And we're lucky enough to have 2 workouts in week one. We've got 2 again this week. Matt, as I mentioned, unique circumstances for so many competitors and different circumstances depending on whereabouts in the globe they were located. I imagine that when the judging team has been going through the submissions, that they've probably come across those different circumstances in the videos.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been really interesting to see. I guess different parts of the world, different countries are in different states of lockdown. Still are in total lockdown. Others are, I guess, more relaxed with that now. So it's been really interesting. Certainly a lot of feedback from the judging team about the different environments that people are having to train in, or to compete in this case, but on a day-to-day basis, train for sure.
Now, you've seen a lot of competitors at very high levels and everyday athletes. Are you surprised by how well people have seemingly just got on with the job and made best of the circumstances they're in? Or is this the response that you're expecting to this year's Grand Slam?
It's interesting. It's a great question. It's interesting. We have received a lot of really great feedback, which we appreciate, of course, and that's for the whole team behind me. We've been a little bit overwhelmed with how well adopted this style of workout has been. I mean, as you know, as everyone knows, we completely rewrote the entire programming so that it's accessible for anyone at home with minimal gym equipment. And I know that some of the calculations, some of the measurements have also been a cerebral test as well as the physical test as well. But we've done everything we can to make it fair at the end of the day, and everyone's really embraced that and really dug in. And some of the results are absolutely spectacular.
Now, speaking of results, we're going to have a detailed look at the leaderboard soon, but certainly last week we only had one set of points that adjusted the leaderboard, and there was a lot of movement. So this is exciting. 2 workouts this week. There's a lot up for grabs, and we can expect to potentially see a lot of movement on the leaderboard.
Yeah, that's exactly right. People clearly are very keen to win their exclusive invitation to the masterclass in Jervis Bay with Alethea Boone and Khan Porter. Rightly so. It's going to be an incredible weekend. And yeah, look, there were a few changes as a result of the judging process. There were a few penalties issued, not too many. If I'm honest, there were less than last year. There was less requirement for penalties than last year, we have found. Obviously, we don't like issuing penalties, but it's the only way at the end of the day of protecting the integrity of the competition. And as I said, there is a masterclass up for grabs, so it is a competition and people are fighting for it.
I think all good athletes really respect when penalties are handled down of that nature, because it certainly means that the competition is being made fair, and it's a serious competition. So congratulations to you and the judging team for doing such a fine job this year. Now, as always, our broadcast partner, Cosmorex Coffee, are on board. They provide liquid weaponry to everyday athletes. And we're going to hear from the team at Cosmorex one more time.
Morning guys, my name's Jamie.
And I'm Jess.
And today we want to give you a behind the scenes tour of Cosmorex Coffee. Did you know that Cosmorex has been roasting coffee in the ACT since 1985? And today we're still one of Australia's leading specialty coffee roasters. If you want to perform at your peak as an athlete, make sure you try Cosmorex Coffee.
Yep, we remain grateful to those guys for coming aboard this year, staying aboard this year, and liquid weaponry it is indeed. Now, Ed has already talked about the leaderboard, and what we're going to do now is have a look and see how the provisional results stand after week 2. Ed, back to you.
Yeah, that's right, Matt. So keep in mind, team, that this is the leaderboard as of about 6:10 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time this evening. So about from 50 minutes ago, and we know that it can change very, very quickly. But if we're looking at the female pairs that are intermediate, this is a very tight leaderboard. In third place on 12 points is the Mad Hatters. In second place on only 11 points, only 1 point ahead, is Wilson and Friends. And then in 10 points in first place is the Epic Babes. So it's fair to say that any of those three teams could certainly take top spot. And the Maloneys that are in fourth place all the way from Ireland, they're only 2 points off third spot. So they could certainly take themselves into podium contention as well. Now, if we move across and we have a look at the standings on the male pairs for intermediates, in third place, in 16 points, is the Essential Aussies. And for those that are listening for overseas, the term essential worker became particularly prevalent in Australia. So I believe that their name's a play on that. In second place is the Kettlebell Swingers. And then in first place, with a really quite a handy lead all the way from the United States, is Concrete City. Now, if we move across to the mixed pairs for intermediate, and the top three right now occupy, they're all Australian spots. And in third place, Nat and Tom. In second place, Team FR, but with a very, very handy lead and only accumulating 5 points thus far, is the Seaside Slappers. I'm not too sure who was in charge of marketing for the Seaside Slappers name, but they can obviously exercise quite well indeed, because they are in a handy spot on the mixed pairs intermediate. Now, if we have a look at our advanced divisions, and the first that we'll have a look towards is the female pairs. And my personal favorite for the entire competition, really, in third place are the Gin Sisters. I've been consuming a fair bit of gin myself, I must say, so I'm totally fine with the Gin Sisters being where they are. In second place, Lasamzis from Canada, and then in first place, Valesco CrossFit. And that leaderboard's fairly tight. There's 4 points for Valesco, 7 for Lasamzis, and 8, in fact, for the Gin Sisters. Now, if we go across to the male advanced pairs, and this is probably the tightest leaderboard that we have. We've got Snatchers Win Matches in first place on 22 points. In equal first place, also on 22 points, obviously, is Fit after 35. And then only 3 points after that is SCCH on 25. And then there's a number of other teams underneath there with only a few points between them as well. So the male advanced pairs will certainly be one to watch, with 2 events going down this week. And finally, the mixed advanced pairs. If we have a look at the first place there, the American Fitness Warriors, followed closely, only a point behind, in fact, by the Humdingers. And then in third place, we have Aura/Calorie. And there's also a few cracker names in that particular leaderboard. We've got the Dirty Jerks in fourth place and Boom Shakalaka in sixth place. So certainly getting creative on the leaderboard. But Matt, we spoke about this last week, but it's worth acknowledging once again. It's just so great to see so many different flags on that leaderboard and to see so many people from the community and the globe participating this year in the Grand Slam. 27 countries, in fact.
Absolutely spectacular, and we've been inundated with emails, messages, all sorts, all the different channels from around the world. Really, it's just amazing. We've really appreciated everyone getting on board, and we're pleased we've been able to provide an excuse for people to get involved, keep moving, stay part of the community, and it's a competition. That's what it's all about.
Well, Matt, I think it's time that we shouldn't keep our athletes waiting any longer. Folks, we've got a special one for you tonight. We've got two pairs demonstrating workout or showing or competing in workout 4.20, and then we're going to have two other pairs competing in 5.20. So it's time for me to introduce the pairs that will be competing in workout 4.20. Now, all the way from Rogue Fitness Kinsale in County Cork, Ireland, I've got Shirley Maloney and her sister, Aisling Maloney. Shirley and Aisling, how are you?
We're good, thank you.
That's good. Now, I was going to ask you, how are you this evening? But that would be very me-focused. What time is it over there in County Cork? Oh, it seems that we've just lost audio there for the girls. Say that again for us, ladies. What time is it over there?
10:15 a.m. on Thursday morning.
Okay, now are you folks morning or evening workouters? Is this a good time for you guys to throw down?
Yeah, we've become morning people during lockdown just to get it out of the way.
Fair enough. Now,
Up and out of break.
Guys, for people listening from around the world, Ireland, what's the state of play with gyms in Ireland? My understanding is that gyms won't be open to the public for some time. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. You're allowed to train. We're in phase 2 of coming out of lockdown, and so you can train in small pods outdoors. But gyms won't be open until 10th of July, I think, is it? Yeah, they're the next phase anyway. Yeah, so our gym has kindly allowed us to come in, so we're the only people here. There's nobody else around, so obviously we have to clean up and everything after ourselves. But yeah, we're still in lockdown from that perspective. But small pod training outdoors, practicing social distancing.
Absolutely. Well, we're very glad that the gym was able to make an exemption. Best of luck to you ladies tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, combating against the Maloney sisters in 4.20 from Valesco CrossFit Bristol in the UK, it's Layla Jones and Kat Ogden. Ladies, how are you? Oh, we've just seemed to have lost audio on you guys as well. I was going to ask you guys what time it is, but I know that it wouldn't be too far away from the girls in Cork. Have we got audio there, team?
Yeah, it's 10:15 in the morning, so same as in Ireland at the moment.
Absolutely. And how are you guys going without making you repeat what's going on in your part of the world? Are gyms open for the public at the moment where you are?
Pretty much the same. So not open at the moment, but we can train outdoors with social distancing up to groups of 6. We've had no clearer guidelines of when we can reopen, but fingers crossed for July at some point.
Absolutely. And from your experience, has it been meaningful for people to be able to get together and work out in groups of 6 or participate in an online competition like this? People have been getting something out of that?
Yeah, 100%. We've actually gone online as a gym as well. So a lot of our members have been doing a lot of Zoom classes. So it's great to be able to do a competition online and compete against, especially loads of people from across the globe. I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, best of luck to you two as you throw down tonight in 4.20. And Matt, I think it's probably time that we reveal what 4.20 is.
Yep, that's exactly right. So 4.20, here we go. It's, as Ed already alluded to, week 3 has 2 workouts in it, and therefore you'd expect them both to be a little bit shorter. And I think for 4.20, that could be true. So let's have a look. 4 time, athletes will have to complete 200 backpack ground to overhead and 100 lateral burpee over backpack. Now, that sounds horrible to many people. That number of burpees doesn't sound like a bunch of fun. Let's see how we make that up though. So the rules of engagement are such. You can perform these as a pair in any order you like until you have completed a total of 300 reps between you. Now that doesn't mean you have to do 150 each. It just means that together you have to end up with a score of 300 reps. You can partition them in any order, you can break them how you like, and both partners can work at the same time if you wish. So this one really is a game of strategy, really working out who's going to do what, how many, what rep counts to do, in what order, and how to communicate between those as well. Because as we all know, when we get the red mist and the pulse pumping, keeping count can be tricky. Something as simple as that can go to the wall. So certainly having a strategy even around that will be really, really important. So that's what 4.20 looks like. And Ed, I'm going to hand back to you, and let's see what our athletes think of that.
Thank you, Matt. Well, this is an absolute doozy. It's one of those ones that looks simple on paper, just with 2 movements, nice round numbers. But the fact that you can break these up how you wish, I expect to see a lot of different strategies. And I'll be interested to see what our teams tonight are thinking of doing. Now, Shirley, I might start with you. Is there anything, is there a best way to break these up, or is there a potential that you should just do all the ground to overheads and then all the burpees? What do you think?
Well, we've worked out a strategy, so hopefully it works. So we're going to do 10 burpees, lateral jump overs, and then 20 ground to overhead, and do 10, 20, 10, 20, 10, 20, and we'll work together.
So you'll be splitting up the 10 burpees and the 20 evenly, or it will just be if someone can go hard for a little bit, they'll do it and you'll switch whenever?
We're going to try and stick to 10, 20 each, but we'll pick up the slack of each other if somebody's going to drop off a bit.
If somebody gets stuck in the partner vortex of taking forever and getting no rest, that might be the nice thing to do. Layla and Kat, what are your thoughts on how you might partition this?
Yeah, we've got a similar game plan of 10 burpees and then splitting the burpees up with a bit of ground overhead. But I think this one's definitely going to be maybe do it a second time potentially. See how it goes today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's reasonable. Well, athletes, I'm going to give you about 60 seconds to make any final adjustments and make sure that you have timers and videos set up for yourself. So please take that time right now. Now, Matt, you and me haven't had the pleasure of working out together for a long time. It was, in fact, last year in Sydney where we got to get a little bit of a sweat on before an announcement. If it was you and me throwing down in this tonight, what would our game plan be?
That's a great question. I think you would be doing all of the burpee over bar, or backpack, I should say. Definitely, because I've seen you operate, and I know that you are a machine when it comes to burpees. So I think I'd have to hand those over to you.
You're too kind. And you only think that because I did them on Zoom and I was just ducking up and down, so that wasn't true. All right, without any further ado, folks, let's get this party started. Athletes, I'm going to give you 10 seconds from now before 4.20 starts. So please take your starting positions. Maybe I'll give you a bit more than 10, Layla and Kat, because there's a dog in the way. But if that's how it goes, this is what we need to do. Going in, 3, 2, 1, and go. All right, 4.2 is up and running, and already you can see that the 2 pairs have opted for different strategies. So the 2 Maloney sisters are both doing burpees over the bar. Now, they said they'd do that. They said they'd both do 10, and then they'd hit the 100 burpees by doing sets of 10, and then they'd go straight into 20 backpack ground to overhead, whereas Johns and Ogden opted to start on opposite movements, and they are going to rotate back and forth. Now, that's interesting. I don't quite know what the logic of that would be, but certainly maybe it's just so they can make up the slack for each other. But it'll be difficult to see with Johns and Ogden who, in fact, is getting in front. So I think Johns is now doing what looks to be like 10 burpees, lateral burpees, and I think they're doing sets of 10 and 10. So it'll be interesting to see what Johns and Ogden come out with and if they'll stick with that. Maloney and the Maloney sisters just operating a much more simple go here. They're doing 10 lateral burpees over the backpack and then 20 backpack ground to overhead, and they're going to do 10 rounds of that, you would imagine. On your left, as you look at it, Shirley Maloney. On the right is her sister, Aisling Maloney, and they are on the second round of burpees in their approach of 10 rounds. So they're about to begin the backpack ground to overhead. Now, make no mistake, this is an absolute burner. 4.20. Both athletes need to complete 200 backpack ground to overhead and 100 lateral burpees over the backpack. Now, if we flick across to Johns and Ogden, and at the moment they are both on burpees over the bar. In fact, as I say that, Johns picks up the backpack for the 200 backpack ground to overhead, and she's been doing sets of 20, as has her partner, Kat Ogden. So I imagine they're probably not far off the halfway point for the backpack ground to overhead. And in fact, the Maloney sisters are on the third round now of their 10 lateral burpees. And they will have 2 more rounds to go. So we're 2:57 down. And I dare say we're around about the halfway mark, maybe a little bit short of that. And looking super strong on the backpack ground to overhead is Kat Ogden. She is monstering that thing, easily accounting for sets of 20. So I think I've been able to decipher what our 2 pairs are up to. They're basically operating the same strategy. The only difference was Johns and Ogden decided to start on different movements. I'll have to ask them what the logic of that is there, but it's worked a treat because, as you see, Ogden goes into the burpee as Johns picks up the backpack. So it's very clear that they've thought this through and they knew that this would be a good way potentially to keep themselves accountable. Now, Maloney sisters are on the ground to overhead, and this is their third round. And my apologies, before I said they'd be required to do 10 rounds, my maths was particularly off. They're only going to have to do 5 rounds. I do apologize. So if you're at home freaking out about how many reps you realized you had to do, I was mistaken. My apologies. So they are in sync on the backpack ground to overhead, and they are moving into their fourth round of 5. And at the moment, they are pretty much in time. I'll just say that Shirley is a few burpees ahead of her sister Aisling, but Layla Johns and Kat Ogden, they are still operating this opposite movement scheme, and they're doing a really nice job of it. Layla Johns' burpees are just slowed a little. Kat Ogden still looks strong on the bag. Remember, at this point in time, both athletes have completed almost 30 to 40 burpees apiece, and they've done somewhere around the 70 to 80 ground to overhead with the backpack. All right, Kat Ogden piffs the backpack on the ground, and she now moves to the burpees over the backpack while Layla Johns is on the ground to overhead. Now, Maloney sisters move to their 4th round of the sandbag shoulder or the backpack ground to overhead. So they are about to finish their 4th round, or they're in the 4th round, I should say. And you'd have to say that the tactic employed by the Maloney sisters right now is probably the most obvious one, and that certainly doesn't mean that it's not the best one either. But they've broken up. They're doing 5 rounds each of 20 backpack ground overhead and 10 lateral burpees. The only difference is they started on the burpees, and as you can see, the battery acid is starting to hit the Maloney sisters. They are deep in the hurt locker on the 4th round right now, but they are looking solid and moving into the 5th round, in fact, now, is Shirley Maloney. So they're very close to finishing. Now, if we flip ourselves over to Layla Johns and Kat Ogden, and Johns is on the burpees, and she would also be in the 5th round now, working hard with her 10 burpees, lateral burpees over the backpack. And in fact, I think perhaps Layla Johns is done. So we're almost going to see the workout complete here. And that is time 6:44 unofficial for Layla Jones and Kat Ogden. And the strategy of starting on opposite exercises has worked. And if you're getting the same screen I am, you are looking at absolute carnage. And that's Layla Johns and Kat Ogden. They have put in 100%. They emptied the tank on that one. Now, the Maloney sisters are on the backpack ground to overhead. So 6:44 is the time Johns and Ogden pulled it in on. And we're at 7:23, and you would imagine that the Maloney sisters will be done very, very shortly. And it's 10:15 in the morning in Cork Island. As you can see, the Irish flag behind them, and they are doing Ireland proud right now. They are moving very nicely on the backpack ground to overhead. And they are done 7:48 unofficial. And they also fall in the ground or to the ground in a heap. And that was an absolute burner. And I think in a few minutes, I'll be able to speak to the Maloney sisters. I'll give them a little bit of time, but we might flick across and we'll just speak to Layla Johns and Kat Ogden. Layla, do I have you there?
Yes, hi. Thank God that's
How are you? How are you is the question I'll start with. That looked really, really challenging.
Yeah, that was a bit spicy. My forearms are pretty blown from just gripping onto the rucksack, but yeah, it's good. It's hard, but good.
Now, you probably heard me carrying on like an idiot. I couldn't figure out the logic of you guys starting on opposite exercise. Talk to me about that, because it seemed to work quite well for you. You almost seemed to be switching at exactly the same time.
Yeah, I think for me, I wanted to start off ground to overhead because I prefer them to burpees. And then whatever had in the tank, just to try and go a little bit faster at the end of the burpees. Try and stick to a constant pace throughout.
Yeah. Were you guys aware of where the other one was at, or did you just go as hard as you possibly could to try and get your reps done, and then that was it?
We just went as hard as just get in the zone and just and just do as best we could. That's all right.
Any tips, ladies, just finally for the ground to overhead? You guys seem to do particularly well with the ground to overhead. I know you're both strong athletes, but did you hold the backpack in any particular way?
Just try not to grip onto it too tight so that your forearms don't blow completely. Just try and hold it with an open palm. But it depends on the backpack that you've got. It's a little bit tricky, but no. And then just pace burpees. Don't go in the red too early.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you guys did a brilliant job of that. Congratulations, ladies. Well done. Maloney sisters, you guys decided to start in sync, and you pretty much stayed in sync for the entire workout. Was that the plan, to just stay with each other and support each other along the way?
It kind of was, to be fair. So our strategy was to try and do our own 10 and our own 20, but towards the end then pick up the slack of each other if somebody fell behind. So to be fair, I only had to do 5 extra ground to overheads at the very end.
Yep.
So I think our strategy worked well for ourselves.
Yeah, I thought you guys did a really nice job. I could see you guys communicating throughout the workout. Do you think that'll be a key to this one? Like making sure that if someone is feeling the hurt a little bit, they let their partner know so they can potentially pick up the slack?
Yeah, definitely. I think towards the end, I found the last 20 of the ground overheads really challenging. But it was really good to tell Shirley could she do an extra 5, and I just needed to get to 15. And like mentally that was a lot easier, because when I got to 10 I only had to count down from 5. And then I knew Shirley was going to do the other 5, so it kind of pushes you along. And then you can get it done together, rather than if I was on my own, I would have had to get to the 20, and it could have taken me longer as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I thought you guys did a really nice job in that last round. Just finally, I have to ask you, I don't know how much you were listening to me, but did you guys get particularly worried when I said you had to do 10 rounds of your strategy?
I didn't hear you.
You're very lucky. My maths was horrible, and I said you had to do 10 rounds when you only had to do 5. And then I thought, oh, God, they've heard me and they're going to think they have to do 10 rounds. So that was certainly my mistake. You guys did a cracking job. Congratulations once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Matt, I think you'll agree that looks particularly painful by both the pairs that we saw perform that then. I don't know if many people will be looking forward to performing that one, but it looks like a cracking workout.
Yeah, well, at least now everyone's got an idea of what sort of time they could expect it to take. So from a planning perspective, they know what they're in for. But I have to say congratulations to the two pairs of ladies, and thank you so much for joining us, of course, during the morning, UK and Ireland time. It was a joy to see them go hard at it, and they certainly did.
Yeah, I think we probably haven't seen that sort of intensity in any of the live announcement workouts as of yet, although our other athletes from previous weeks certainly went hard, but that was the next level in terms of pushing to finish in the with a quick time. Now, Matt, I understand we're going to hear from our good friends at WonderFit right now.
Hi guys, I'm Carrie. This is Will.
And we're the founders of WonderFit.
WonderFit is an active adventure and fitness retreat company. We take you to the most beautiful places in the world. We combine fitness and active adventures.
We started WonderFit to take my passion for fitness and Carrie's passion for travel and building a community of like-minded travelers. On our retreats, when you join us, you can expect to have some awesome fitness, meet some amazing people, experience the amazing culture that each of our destinations has to offer. Simply put, we make an awesome bucket list trip that you get to experience.
What we love so much about it is seeing people come as strangers and leave as friends.
Looking forward to meeting you.
Yeah, they really are a great couple, and they have the most amazing team around them as well. And I have to say, I gave slightly wrong information last week. I said that they were on their way to Portugal, and unfortunately that's not the case. When COVID, just before COVID kicked off, they started a journey to Portugal via the US to visit family and friends, and COVID kicked off while they were there, and so they've been there ever since, I have to say, and remain there now. So they are trying to get to Portugal, and in fact, I guess like everyone else, it's a very fluid environment that they're dealing with, and at the end of the day, they're going to try and get to Portugal in time for September. Portugal, thankfully, is fully open again, and no restrictions of any sort, which is fabulous news for everyone there. And so there is a retreat, one of the WonderFit retreats happening in September that will go ahead in Portugal. They do have a few places left, and I could only recommend it. And quite exciting this year, in the last week, they've also announced that next year they've added an amazing retreat location in Mexico as well. So big plans for next year, and they're just getting through doing what they can this year. Now, of course, we come to a segment of tonight's broadcast where we will do a live prize draw, a lucky draw, to pull a team's name out of the hat or the chalk bucket. And what WonderFit have still maintained and will continue to do for us this year and for you, the athletes, is $1,000 US voucher that can be used to go towards one of their retreats. And of course, they'll get in touch with you, but of course, with COVID going on, of course, there's flexibility around how long that will be valid for. But they've maintained there's going to be 3 for the Grand Slam 2020. There were some lucky winners from Canada last week who won the $1,000 US voucher. And we are about to find out who are the lucky winners this week. And this is a great example where you don't have to be the fittest, fastest, or the strongest. All you had to do was throw your hat on the table, enter the competition, and get involved. And for that, we'll reward you and say thank you. And we're about to find out who that's going to be. Now, last week we tried this piece of software, which it's a piece of software that makes it completely fair, auditable, and it really is a lucky dip. And there's a little certificate that pops up afterwards and so on. And last week we had tested it and it worked well, except that it didn't do what we thought it was going to do when I pushed the button. However, I am pleased to say you can see the start button flashing on my screen right now, and we are going to hit that button and we are going to find out who is this week's winning pair. So you can see my screen. We're going to go 3, 2, 1. Here we go. The lucky winner is... drum roll, Great name. Two Crazy Bitches. Now, while I'm announcing the fact it's Two Crazy Bitches and laughing about their name, Ed, very kindly in the background, is rapidly trying to find out who are the athletes that make up that pair. But what's going to happen is the Two Crazy Bitches will decide themselves how they carve up that $1,000 voucher. It could be 500 for each of them, or one of them might go it alone and take the voucher. But Ed, if you're ready now, we're going to find out who it is, are the lucky recipients of this week's prize.
I am, and these are probably words that I never thought I'd say on air, but congratulations to the Two Crazy Bitches, Christy Cooper and Wendy Newbert. They are our winners. So congratulations to you two.
Very good. And so within the next 24 hours, you'll get an email. Both of you will get an email from us from headquarters here in Jervis Bay, and it will connect you with the team from Wonderfit, and they'll take it from there. But congratulations, and we appreciate you playing. Now, what I'd like to do is, we've got just a small segment now that we'd like to just, I guess, pay homage to everyone who's taking part in the event this year. I mean, everyone's doing it tough. Every country's got its own situation going on around the whole COVID-19 topic. What I'd like to do is introduce you to one of the team, one of the newer members of the team, let's say. His name is Ravi. We're going to get Ravi on the screen, and we're going to have a chat with Ravi, because Ravi moved to Australia not that many months ago from Brazil, where he's from, his home country. Hey, Ravi, there we go. Can you hear me, Ravi?
Yes, I can, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. And we've got Paloma, your beautiful wife, with you.
Yeah,
and Justin the machine over there in the corner, just on the other side of the screen. So Ravi, yeah, you've joined the team. We appreciate that very much. And what we wanted to do now is, I guess, just acknowledge we've got quite a few athletes from Brazil who are taking part, and many countries are still absolutely suffering at the hand of COVID-19, and the end is in sight, but we don't know when. But Brazil, I have to say, has been hit really hard. And I think we here in Australia, and I think the same in Ireland and the UK and countries such as that, there's been a lot of support available from the government in terms of just helping people kind of stay afloat, let's say, businesses stay in business and help with rental payments and so on. And that's not necessarily the case for everyone in Brazil. It's been hit really hard. And what we'd like to do is just, through yourself, and you're kindly going to translate, is just get the message across to the athletes that are watching this now or as a replay, that we appreciate them very much. I guess you have friends and family there as well, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And how are they going?
They are fine. They are okay. They don't live in the big population area, so they are safe. São Paulo is taking a big hit in Brazil, which is a big city. So very crowded population. Everyone is in buildings, so they are taking a big hit. But my family is safe. Paloma's family is safe as well, which is very good. But Brazil is just going through a nightmare at the moment. And
yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, certainly. So you're going to translate for us now, because we'd like to send a message on behalf of the Bay Games and the Grand Slam. Sure. We'd simply like to say that we very much appreciate everyone from Brazil who has got involved with this competition at this time. And I'll let you translate that now.
Bom, então, pessoal, a gente do The Bay Games tá aqui agora para agradecer a todos vocês por terem participado, por estarem dedicando esse tempo de vocês para participar desse evento. Nós sabemos a situação que está no Brasil. Eu, por ser brasileiro, a Paloma, por ser brasileira, a gente sabe a situação que está aí, e vocês terem dedicado esse tempo para estar participando, para estar unindo a comunidade, significa muito para a gente. E por isso a gente está fazendo de tudo possível para que vocês consigam compreender os workouts, consigam entender os standards, e agradecemos de coração por vocês terem participado.
A gente sabe o quanto é difícil se manter motivado nesse momento, que no Brasil, por exemplo, as academias a maioria continua fechada e sem a ajuda do governo. Então, é complicado manter a rotina e se manter motivado. Então, vocês virem participar do The Bay Games é muito importante.
E a gente está muito feliz com isso. E vamos para o próximo, ano que vem tem mais. That's it, Matt.
No, thank you, guys. And look, I got the gist because we'd spoken before. The bottom line is through this competition, we've had the opportunity. We see the athlete through the videos. We've heard them through emails and messages, and we appreciate every single one of them, and we wish them all the very best. We appreciate them being involved and look forward to meeting them in the future when it's permissible.
Nós vemos os atletas, nós estamos assistindo os vídeos, a gente consegue ver todo o esforço que vocês estão fazendo para participar e a gente vai fazer o possível para ajudar vocês e estamos aqui por vocês e vamos dar-lhe, pessoal. With you, Matt.
All right, well, thank you very much. And Paloma and Ravi, thank you so much for translating for us. And I guess now I'm going to hand back to Ed because Paloma and Justin need to get warmed up because they're about to compete against another couple in 5.20. So guys, thank you very much for playing. Appreciate you being here tonight as well. And looking forward to see you throw down.
No worries.
Mr. Morrison, over to you.
Thank you so much, Matt. Well, as you saw, team, for 5.20, one of the pairs that will be throwing down from CrossFit Geelong, just down the highway from myself here in Melbourne. It'll be Paloma Deal and Justin Stevens. Now, the other pair that will be throwing down in 5.20 from CrossFit Jervis Bay is Matt Triffett and Rochelle Edwards. Matt, Rochelle, good evening to you.
Hey, mate, how you going?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you guys?
Fantastic.
Good.
Now, you guys have been open. The gyms where you are have been open for a week. Have you been relishing the opportunity to get back into CrossFit Jervis Bay?
Yeah, we had our first class out on Saturday morning, and yeah, it's been fantastic for the coaches, the staff, us as owners, and all our members just to get back in the gym. It's been great. So everyone's pretty pumped and looking forward to training next week also.
Now, guys, as gym owners, and I'm a gym owner myself, I asked Matt before if he was surprised by how well people had been able to adapt and just continue to put themselves in the hurt locker day in, day out with their training. Have you been surprised as well by that? Have you been inspired by the community you guys have got?
Yeah, it's a fantastic community here at Jervis Bay. Jody just stayed pretty strong, offering Zoom classes and stuff like that, and trying to interact through social media and so forth. And yeah, the community did a great job, and the members did a great job of staying on board and training, and also supporting us here also.
Did you ever think you'd end up doing a live announcement Zoom workout? Is this a situation that you predicted happening at the start of 2020?
Not at all. And the only reason I'm doing it is because Rochelle talked me into it.
That's a lie.
No.
It's all right. Rochelle was telling me before that she refers to herself as the machine. Is that right, Matt?
That's true. That's
it's
true.
all lies.
Yeah. No, we're both excited to be. It's been fun. The first couple of workouts, and we hope to have a bit of fun tonight. So.
Well, we'll make it fun, mate. No doubt about it. Best of luck to you guys. Let's get an introduction as to what you're doing. Matt, take us away for 5.20. Let's find out what the workout is.
All right. So normally the 2 workout weeks would have smaller workouts in, and certainly 4.20, as you saw, was short and sharp. But let's take a look at what 5.20 looks like. Okay. So for time, you have to complete a certain number of rounds. The suspense. So there are 4 basic movements. You can see we have 20 synchronized backpack alternating shoulder push presses. So both pairs, both individuals working together as a pair, they're synchronized. Then 30 tall plank up and downs. And now here, one works while the other one holds in a tall plank position. Then 40 synchronized alternating single leg V-up. So again, both athletes working together there. And then we move into the burner. 50 squat jump and lunge jump complex. Now this is the absolute acid-filling, burning part of the workout, let me tell you, but this is the area where you get to take a rest, or one of you does. So while one works, one gets to rest. Now, if you're an intermediate athlete, you'll be pleased to hear that for the squat, jump and lunge complex, it's for you an air squat, and reverse lunge complex. So it's the same complex, but without the jump movement. And trust me, that makes a big, big difference. Now, of course, the burning question is, how many rounds do you have to do? And the answer is 3. So you have to, for time, complete 3 rounds of those movements. And again, you've really only got one point where you're having a proper rest, and that's on the squat jump and lunge jump complexes. So what can I say? It's a big, burny, bitey finish with 5.20. Ed, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
Well, I knew that the last one was always going to be a tough one, but as you said, the real meat and potatoes of this workout is the squat jump plus lunge jump complex. I'm really interested to see how our teams go about breaking that up, and in fact, I might actually ask our teams right now what their thoughts are on that. Paloma and Justin, guys, are your eyes automatically drawn to the squat jump lunge jump complex as well, or is there something else about this workout that might be challenging?
The alternating single leg V-ups, I think, are going to be a little bit of a spicy one. It's kind of similar to maybe toes to bar a little bit in workouts where they kind of buy you in a little bit, but you can hit a wall quite early.
And the after toe plank, so it's going to be...
Yeah, a lot of core kind of in there as well.
Yeah, and how do you guys reckon you're going to break up the things that you can break up, like the tall plank and the squat jump? Have you thought about how you might break those up?
Hey, kind of going to go smooth as quick, so maybe not have a small break in between each one of the V-ups, maybe just a very slight half-second break or something, and then split the squat lunge maybe up into something we can keep a pace going quite quickly and consistent throughout the 3 rounds, so maybe 5s each.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like a good plan. Interested to watch how it goes down. I'll let you guys warm up quickly while I scoot across and hear from Matt and Rochelle. Rochelle, we've seen the squat jump, lunge jump get a bit of attention from Matt and me, the alternating single leg V-ups. How are you feeling about the various movements in this? Does something stick out to you?
Definitely the squat jump complex. Yeah,
and what?
Get hard really quickly.
Absolutely. And have you got an idea of rep schemes on that? Do you think you'll do?
Yeah, so we're aiming for 5s.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's our goal. But if we have to go to singles, we can do that too.
And is anyone going to take a hit in the tall plank up downs? Is someone going to do more, or are you guys going to try and partition the work relatively evenly throughout?
Yeah, so we'll start with Matt. We'll do 10, and I'll try and finish off strong with the last 20. So we'll see.
Well, I'll give you guys 60 seconds or so just to get your bearings and to make sure that you've got everything you need in place. Obviously, the WeTime application is what we recommend for athletes to make sure that they are timing and getting their workout done in a way that they can submit it. Matt, if you and me were doing this, what's our plan, mate? What are we thinking?
I reckon, yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard because there's really only, you're either having agreed joint breaks or you're just pacing yourself and then taking a measured break when you're breaking up the squat complex and the lunge complex. It's kind of hard, I have to say. I mean, it's designed that way. I think Will and the team did an amazing job with this workout, all the workouts, but this one, it's really quite clever. When you break it down and really think about it, it's a very clever workout.
Yeah, and I think what's quite brilliant about this is that if you're not careful, one partner is going to be getting very little rest, and really what you want to try and avoid is making sure that one partner doesn't get no rest in the first round or so, and then they can't keep up in the back 2 rounds. Athletes, we're going to start in about 30 seconds. Matt and Rochelle, I'll just get you, if you can, to possibly, from where you were warming up just then, I'll just ask you to step in slightly just so you don't go off camera. Make sure you keep social distancing and all that jazz, but just in slightly. Beautiful. All right, team, this is event 5.20 for the Grand Slam. This is the last one. Let me read it out for you one more time. 3 rounds of 20 synchronized backpack alternating shoulder push presses, 30 tall plank up downs. One works while the other one holds the tall plank, 40 synchronized alternating single leg V-ups, and 50 squat jump plus lunge jump complex, and that is the only time where one works while one rests. Athletes, give me a bit of a thumbs up if you are ready. I like that. Best of luck, team. Going in 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and go. And we are away. So we start with the synchronized backpack push press, and I don't think we'll see athletes break this up, at least in the first round. This, ideally for these guys, is the most manageable part of this workout. And as you can see, they're very nicely making their way through it. Now, Triffett, in fact, both athletes are now down to the up-down planks. So Matt Triffett and Rochelle Edwards. And Rochelle Edwards is holding the plank while Matt Triffett is going up and down at a hell of a pace. And it looks like Deal and Stewart are alternating a little bit more frequently than that. So the pace is hot early. And I believe that it was Justin Stevens that talked about smooth is fast, but ain't nothing smooth about this at the moment. Both pairs are flying at the moment. And Justin Stevens and Paloma Deal are onto the alternating V-ups. Now, you heard Justin Stevens say that he expected these to be very much like toes to bar, in that you can start off with them quite well, but when you hit a wall, you're going to hit it pretty hard. And I think that was a really nice assessment. So if that's the case, you would imagine that we'll see these pairs take some tactical rest in this first round. I have no doubt that these athletes, these weapons, could probably power through 40 unbroken, but we might see them take a bit of a rest. Now, as I say that, there's no sign of rest at all. You are watching the Grand Slam Workout 5.20, and right now at CrossFit Geelong, it's Paloma Deal and Justin Stevens, and at CrossFit Jervis Bay, it's Matt Triffett and Rochelle Edwards, and we've pretty much got them neck and neck. In fact, Deal and Stevens now move on to the squat lunge complex, and this is brutal. There is 50 of these. You can break them up how you want, and if you watch carefully, you'll see that one repetition includes one squat and then one jump lunge on each leg. And even sets of 5 of this are very, very challenging for the legs, because realistically, it's a set of 5 is still 15 reps. And look at Rochelle Edwards just powering through the jump lunge and squat complex. I don't call her the machine for no reason whatsoever. Make sure you read the standards, folks. You can download that at the website. So both teams are on round 1 of 50 squat jump plus jump lunge complex. And this is certainly the most time-consuming part of the workout. And I believe that Deal and Stevens have just ticked over 25 of the 50 reps in round number 1. And that's 20 reps for Triffett and Edwards. So a handy little lead for Deal and Stevens from Geelong, and the pair from Jervis Bay, certainly not very far off the pace, but about a 5 to 10 rep lead. So the way that both teams are breaking this up, you're seeing them do sets of 5 each. And there is a chance that we might see it break up a little bit more than that as the legs start burning into the second and third rounds. Now, for those playing along at home, we are 3 minutes and 45 seconds into this one. So you're looking at least at a 4-minute round for both of these pairs at the moment. In fact, I think we're going to see Deal and Stevens head to the push press in a matter of seconds, if I'm not mistaken. And that would signify that they are obviously beginning round 2. Edwards and Triffett just making their way through the 40s. And yes, they are in fact done. So 4:15 on the clock, and Deal and Stevens begin their push presses. Now, the push presses, I dare say, look to be the most regulation part of this particular workout. Neither pair struggling to get the 20 synchronized push presses done. We move down into the planks, and you're seeing Justin Stevens absolutely motoring from CrossFit Geelong. Now, we're at 4:43, and we're about to see Triffett and Edwards from Jervis Bay. And yes, they are on to the push presses again. So it's pretty brutal to have to go straight from the squat and lunge complex into the push press. And we're getting a bit of a clock. We've got 5:06 on the clock. And Triffett and Edwards are now also on the up-down plank. So both pairs on the up-down plank in round number 2 of event 5.20 for the Grand Slam. If you are just joining us, we have got an absolute battle on our hands between 4 weapons, 2 pairs, one in Geelong in Victoria, the other one in Jervis Bay in New South Wales. And they are both moving at lightning speed. The team from Geelong, which is Paloma Deal and Justin Stevens, they are deep into the second of 3 rounds. But the hardest part of the round, or the longest part, I should say, is yet to come. And that is the 4th movement in this 3-round workout. The 4th movement is, of course, a 50 squat jump plus lunge jump complexes. Very, very taxing piece of work. Both pairs are currently on 40 synchronized alternating single leg V-ups. And we did expect that this would also provide a little bit of a roadblock. The core into core aspect of this workout is certainly quite obvious, the tall plank into the single leg V-ups. So doing a very nice job and moving at an extremely fast yet seemingly comfortable pace is Justin Stevens from Geelong. He is motoring on the squat jump and lunge jump complex. Now, Triffett and Edwards are still on the single leg V-ups, and they're taking a little bit of a break. So a little bit of a lead developing now for Paloma Deal and Justin Stevens in Geelong. They'd probably have a 30-second lead, I'd say, maybe a tiny bit more over Rochelle Edwards and Matt Triffett from Jervis Bay. But they are beautifully in sync, the couple from Jervis Bay. And in fact, they're now on the squat jump and lunge jump complex. So perhaps I overstated that. They're not too far behind. The pair from Geelong have completed 23 reps of the squat jump and jump lunge complex. The pair from Jervis Bay have done 6 reps now. So it's about an 18 rep lead. And remember that the each of these reps is in fact 3. So it's sizable but not insurmountable. If you're wondering how our pairs are tracking against the clock, we're just at the 7:50 minute mark. Now remember, the pair from Geelong did their first round in around about the 4:20. So if we can get something around the 8:40, then that means they're holding a really nice pace. And I would dare say that they're not far off, in fact, increasing their pace, the pair from Geelong. So the pair from Jervis Bay are now 22 reps down. And you are watching Matt Triffett. Big, strong, strapping man is Matt Triffett. He is making very light work of the jump lunges. We're at 8:30 now. And Matt Triffett trying to count his way through. And it's not an easy one to kick count of. So, in fact, under 8:40, Deal and Stevens move into round number 3. So their second round was faster than their first. So Justin Stevens talked about how important pacing was and how he needed to move smooth. And I in fact, thought they'd gone out pretty hard, but they have actually gone to another gear. And right now, you are watching them really starting to tighten the screws on 5.20. Now, Triffett and Edwards are making their way through the second round. And I believe that they're just hit the 40 rep mark. So you're going to see one more set of 5 from each of them. And of course, you can see the Jervis Bay CrossFit sign in the background. This is our pair from Jervis Bay. So at the moment, your leaders, Paloma Deal and Justin Stevens, they are on the up-down planks in round number 3. So they're not going to see any of these movements again. This is the last time. And in fact, they are now on the single leg V-ups. They are flying in round number 3. Goodness me. Well, I said that round 2 was faster than round 1 for them. It looks like round 3 is going to be faster than round 2. As I say that, Triffett and Edwards are also flying on the alternating backpack shoulder push presses. This is the last workout, ladies and gentlemen, of the Grand Slam. You are watching 5.20, and you are watching 4 absolute weapons go at it. And look at the speed of Triffett on the up-down planks. I'm getting lag on my screen trying to keep up with it. And he hands over to Rochelle Edwards, who is also moving at a hell of a pace. But irrespective of that, they do very, very well to catch Deal and Stevens from here. This has been a very impressive display from the pair from CrossFit Geelong. And they are on the lunge jump, squat jump complex for the last time. Justin Stevens, the man does not get tired when it comes to lunges and squats. He is flying, and he's hit his first set of 5. And he looks like he's got a bit of a shoelace issue, but I don't think that'll stop him. And Paloma Deal is also moving very quickly on that. Now, Triffett and Edwards are on the single leg V-up as well. So their pace is also pretty snappy. Now, 4:20 was the pace of the first 2 rounds. So my maths has not been particularly good tonight, but if I'm right this time, we should be looking at roughly just a tick under 13 minutes based on the speed that I'm seeing from these two right now. And I think, in fact, they're going to go actually under the 13-minute mark quite comfortably at this rate. So that really speaks to nice pacing by Paloma Deal and Justin Stevens. And they're really starting to feel the – look at Justin Stevens. He's really starting to feel the battery acid now. They have stuck to sets of 5 from the start. We've just ticked over 12 minutes. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, there is one more set apiece for Deal and Stevens. And Stevens is away. So I think this is Stevens' last set of 5. This would have them on about 43 reps. And the man is moving at warp speed, and so is Matt Triffett from Jervis Bay. Both gents absolutely flying, and they will hand over to their female compatriots who will complete. And in fact, it looks like, I think that's time, 12:42. I've got a feeling that Stevens did all 10 as his last rep. So Triffett and Edwards are still going, but only with a few reps to go. 12:42 unofficial for Deal and Stevens. And now just rounding out the last set of 50 jump squat and jump lunge complex is Rochelle Edwards, and she is moving at a hell of a pace. Triffett goes a little bit early and begins squatting, but he's away. Now, remember that Matt Triffett started, so I think this will be close to our last set now. 12:42 was the time for Deal and Stevens, and it looks like one more set potentially for Triffett and Edwards, the way Triffett's setting up. Yes, there is one more set each. So one more set of 5 each. This will be the last time they have to do this lunge and squat complex, I should say. And this will round out their 5.20. And look at Rochelle Edwards absolutely flying through her last 5 squat and jump lunge complexes. And she is done. 14:11 unofficial. And we will give the teams a little bit of time to recover, particularly Triffett and Edwards, who just finished. And I will flick across now, and I'll see if I can get a quick word with Paloma Deal and Justin Stevens, team in Geelong. Can you hear me? Have I got you?
Yeah, we can hear.
Yeah.
Beauty, great effort. Was that as bad as it looked on paper?
Yeah, that was spicy. That was really spicy.
Guys, you talked about pacing, and I was watching your rounds. You progressively faster. Was that plan, or was it just how it went down?
A little bit. I don't know if you could hear us, but we were talking, like telling each other to slow it down in between V-ups and some of the other stuff. The pressing was actually a lot easier than I think we both expected. We're able to move through that
more easy.
The push presses didn't seem to cause anyone too much trouble. How were the exercises in the middle? Was it difficult to go from the plank into the V-up?
Yeah, it can be, especially in the last 2 rounds for myself. I could feel it start to heat up in the core a little bit.
Yeah, but
V-ups were just burn the whole way through.
Yeah, but which more burn was the legs.
Yeah.
For the last one movement.
That last set of 50. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to keep up with who started and where it was meant to finish, but it seemed like you guys at that point, did you stick to 5s the whole way through, or did you just change it slightly?
First round, first set of 5, and then
you did 6.
I did 6, and then Paloma did 6, and then we just went to 10.
One strategy, but this doesn't work because we can account and think at the same time.
Well, whatever you did, it worked very well. Congratulations on your performance tonight.
Thank you.
Matt and Rochelle, how are you guys feeling? You've had a few minutes to recover. I asked the other guys if it was as bad as it looked on paper. Was that a bit of a burner?
It was. Firstly, congratulations, CrossFit Geelong. You guys did fantastic. Yeah, it was. It was a burner. We pretty much stuck to our game plan.
Yeah.
My game plan was just to keep up with Rochelle, so I'm pretty happy.
We more than kept up. The big sit-ups definitely caught me by surprise. I thought that'd be a strength, and I struggled.
Was it going straight from the plank into the V-up? Did the plank affect the V-up for you, Rochelle?
I don't even think it was that. I just think, we were trying to get through them pretty quickly.
Yep.
And yeah, I thought it would be a strength, but I quickly tired through them.
Well, I think a lot of people will be tiring through them. With the lunge and the squat complex, guys, do you think 5s is the go, or did that blow you guys up a little bit? If you did it again, would you do 5s?
Yeah, I think for us, 5s were perfect.
Yeah.
It was just enough volume to maintain speed through the movement. Any more, I think we would have slowed down too much. And 5 was perfect for us.
Absolutely. And I asked the other guys, the push press didn't seem to be too much of a drama. Was that like a nice little point in the workout where you could obviously still had to work relatively hard, but just catch your breath a little bit?
Yeah. Well, I only had 5 kilos in my backpack, so it was quite easy. just
Matty, we talked about not saying that on air, but anyway, you can pick yourself up now. Guys, congratulations on a wonderful performance, and thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, guys. And a big shout out to Matt and Nerida. They've done a fantastic job with this year's comp. So keep up the good work, guys.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's been pretty special. And obviously this particular edition of the Grand Slam was railroaded, as were many things for all of us, by the pandemic that is COVID-19. But everybody, including our director, Matt Locke, has been able to adapt and should be super proud of the way that they have handled themselves throughout this entire competition season. Matt, before I throw over to you and get your thoughts on 5.20, did that go down roughly how you thought it would be, around a sort of 12, 13-minute mark?
Honestly, I think those guys smashed it. They were fast. They were really fast. And it's interesting, actually, that the V-ups got as much airtime as they did in the commentary from the athletes. But they did a great job. That they were quick. Those are, I think, some times to chase for the rest of the athletes who are yet to do it, for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So I can expect and I'm sure we all can expect, with these two workouts being what they are, we're going to see a fair bit of movement on the leaderboard potentially. There's certainly lots of points up for grab. And Matt, without giving too much away, I understand that we obviously know what the prizes are for our podium finishes, but I do understand that there's a ongoing prize or another prize that is available for athletes that finish in the top 10 as well.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So you're right. With the masterclass, it's the winners of each division who will receive an invitation to that masterclass in Jervis Bay with Khan Porter and Alethea Boone. Actually, we can take 10 pairs into that weekend. So there's 6 divisions, which means we have 4 pairs that we're going to pull names out of a hat. And the names that go into the hat are those teams that registered, complete all 5 workouts, and have their workouts ratified by the judging team and have a score on the scoreboard at the end of the comp. And when we do the award presentation, we'll be pulling names out of the hat for those 4 pairs. In addition to that, we want to say a huge thank you. I mean, we always planned to celebrate the top 10 from each division. That was always the original plan for this year and looking into the future. Obviously, as you said, a lot has had to change. But we still want to say a massive well done and thank you to the top 10 position holders in each division. And to do that, we've partnered with Khan, who we like to think is part of the family, the Bay Games family anyway. And what we're going to do is, he has an ebook called Fitter Every Day, and it contains 230 conditioning workouts that he has programmed and in fact done over the last 12 months himself. We're going to provide a copy of that to each of the pairs, so one each. Every athlete gets one of their own. And again, it's the top 10 finishers who complete all 5 workouts. They submit their scores, they pop in their videos, and they get ratified. And they're all going to get one of those, which I'm pretty excited about. I've actually got one of these. I've had it for a couple of months, and it's an amazing book. It really is awesome.
Well, what a fantastic prize. And I'd certainly be interested in knowing any of the workouts that Khan Porter has done over the last few years to get into the shape that man is in. Well, Matt, can you believe it? 3 weeks now and 5 workouts. The Grand Slam live announcements, we are done. But this is not the end of us saying hello to people all around the world online. Next Tuesday, they can catch us for the awards ceremony. Isn't that correct?
A week on Tuesday. So the athletes have 7 days from today to complete the 2 workouts. They'll submit their, sorry, Ed. They'll submit their results. And of course, the judges need a bit of time to go through the workout videos and make sure that the scores are as they should be. So a week on Tuesday, so the 30th of June at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Absolutely, you and I get to go live to the world once again, which I look forward to.
No need to apologize, Matt. I just rolling my eyes at myself for simply thinking that we'd be done by Tuesday. But I think I'm just so keen to get this workout done now that I want to see what the leaderboard is like. I wish that it was Tuesday when we could see who our winners were. Matt, can I say thank you on behalf of the entire Grand Slam community for putting on this event. I think throughout the last few months, it's certainly been the little victories that we've all been looking for. And for me personally, jumping on these announcements for the last 3 weeks has been a little victory for me each week. So thank you for allowing me to be involved, and thank you for putting this competition on.
No, not at all. Thank you to you, Ed, and to everyone that's got involved and got behind it. And you're right, we all need things to look forward to. And we sent out an email today giving an update about the Bay Games as well. We can't give a massive green light and confirm it just yet, but things are looking good for the Bay Games to go ahead in November this year. So fingers crossed. We're doing everything we can to be ready for that. We will be ready for that. And if we're allowed to run it, we will run it. And that gives, I think, the whole community something else to look forward to as well.
Absolutely. And obviously, fingers crossed for that particular event. It's an absolute spectacular, and we're looking forward to getting back down there. I'll thank our athletes one more time, those that can still hear me: Paloma, Justin, Matt, Rochelle, and I think we might have lost the ladies from there. Thank you so much, guys, for participating this evening. And folks, thank you for to tuning in. Remember, next Tuesday we'll have the awards ceremony, so we hope that you can join us then. Until then, train hard, train safe, and I'll see you on the leaderboard.